All right, so a lot of people had this idea, and when I thought about it, I'm like, this is perfect. Here are my top 12 sci-fi books in the last 5 years. So 2021 through 2025. So no 2026, no 2020. And I went through every sci-fi book I've read in that range, and I picked 12. And I was looking through again. I looked at the Goodreads again, and if you haven't seen, last week I had a video reacting to the Goodreads Editor's Choice, which was largely, fine. I don't actually, judge it that much, but the sci-fi I judge, especially because most of their picks were from 2024. Not widely spread throughout the 5 years. I have picked from all of the years, and if anything, 2021 is a fantastic sci-fi year, and they were sleeping on it. So I don't really have this organized in any way other than, when I have last read them, and even then, I don't think so. I think I just, threw books on a list, and I was like, yes, this feels right. This feels like a good 12 books. Now, I will say, there are some sequels I didn't include on this list, so, Terra Ignota's 4th book came out in this period. I didn't include it. The sequel to A Memory Called Empire came out in this period. I didn't include it. I thought about it, but I tried to go with first in series if I felt they were important, or just other standalones, and I tried to play around in different genre areas, and of course try and keep things diverse, although I didn't really think about that much because my lists are typically naturally a diverse place to be, which I love that my reading has naturally gone that way. It took effort. I want to say that you don't naturally start reading diversely. It takes a little bit of effort, and then once you've put in that effort, it kind of happens naturally, and it doesn't mean that you forsake all popular sci-fi. I read plenty of popular things. So let's get into it, starting with, and I also didn't duplicate authors, which I think they didn't do on their list, because I could have put 2 Semat Basu on this list, but I put 1, and I put my favorite of the 2, and that is the Jinn-Bot of Shantiport, which is a Aladdin retelling in space. My biggest gripe with this book is that there is no audiobook available, and it would shine with an audiobook. So we have this little storyteller robot telling us the story. Abu is a robot, and then we have this girl who is Aladdin, and then I can't remember the name of the prince, but the prince is the Jasmine character, and it's so much more than Aladdin, but it's so comfortable in its Aladdin tropes. And it's also about robot rights, and it's about revolution, and it's about entering a bigger galactic force. And it worked really well for me. I really loved seeing the battles, if you like kind of Blade Runner 2049 atmosphere, that kind of cyberpunk energy, I feel like that atmosphere is very here. And so I just really enjoyed it. I had a really good time. It's also about how each generation chooses to pick up a rebellion, what resonates with older generations versus the new generation coming through. It was delightful. I had a very good time with it. This book came out in 2023, and the world is sleeping on it. I finally read it last year in 2025 and had a blast. One that I also really enjoyed, so that one's more, like I said, robot cyberpunk adjacent. This one is more classic adventure firefly space opera, and that's Ocean's Gadori. Came out in 2024. I love it. I love it so much. It's a duology. Both books slap. If you want found family, if you like Korean American things, if you just like someone being so good at what they do, Ocean is the best pilot, and they don't just tell you that. You see it, you feel it when you're in the cockpit with her. Oh, she's so cool, and she's so reserved. Ocean is a fascinating character. I really like her as one of our main characters. Tio is also a very good main character. I just had a really good time with the writing style. It's not too long. The covers are gorgeous. Yeah. Definitely deserves to be on my top 12 of the last 5 years. We have a Hugo winner, Some Desperate Glory by Emily Tesh. Fan-freaking-tastic standalone book. So this is about Valkyr, who is very much enmeshed in the military culture. She knows that she needs to be the best because they have to win against the thing that is bad for the humans. Now, if you've read a military sci-fi book, you know that she has probably not been told the whole truth. There's probably more nuance to the situation, and that is true. So in that way, it's a very stereotypical military sci-fi. In other ways, it did things I did not anticipate. And I don't want to elaborate. I don't want to mess with your experience with the work, but if you read the book and you go, I don't like Valkyr, correct. She is a lot. She is spiky. She is a spiky character at the beginning. But I really like the journey we go on with her. I don't even know if I'd say I like her by the end, but she's a fascinating character to watch this journey through. And yeah, I read it because it was on so many award lists. I wasn't going to. This American cover does nothing for me. And like, I like military sci-fi, but they typically are a little predictable. And this one really surprised me in how much I resonated with it, how much I connected with it. I had a blast. Another one that needs to be on this list is Those Beyond the Wall by Micaiah Johnson. So good. It was also on a short list, a couple short lists, not all the short lists, but it was on the Ursula K. Le Guin Award shortlist. This is a sequel, a companion sequel to The Space Between Worlds, which came out in 2020. And I do think you should read The Space Between Worlds before this, but it is a different set of characters you're following and a different location. But I think a lot of world-building backstory would be beneficial if you read The Space Between Worlds first. So I know I said I wasn't going to do sequels, but I just felt like this was such a unique companion project, not a direct sequel. Because you follow, I think his name is Mr. Snakes. Well, it's a woman. And so she is a part of this community. And the things I really love that stick with me, how it chooses to handle justice in their community. So if you are someone who's done violent wrongs, how are you reintegrated as part of your society? How it doesn't use like a penal system. How a community that has been invaded and had all the resources allocated, like this is Ashtown. They just used to live here. And then the Dome people came, and the Dome people don't share any of their resources and take all the resources. So we have that kind of tension there. And just getting to explore unbridled anger. There's a lot of anger in this book. So if you're someone who is angry and wants a artistic, cathartic outreach for this, I think this is really compelling and interesting. You can definitely tell that she wrote this after experiencing a lot of 2020. Next up, see, this is proof. I still read the popular stuff, and I don't know why this wasn't on the Goodreads list, and freaking new Matt Dinniman's book was on the Goodreads list, but Lightbringer by Pierce Brown. Lightbringer was amazing. Lightbringer is everything that's amazing about the Red Rising series if you like the Red Rising series. Like, if you don't like it, obviously Lightbringer is not convincing you. Lightbringer was fan-freaking-tastic. I am so excited to reread it whenever we do get the fourth book in this saga. I was really nervous because Dark Age, notoriously not my favorite, and even on reread, not my favorite. But Lightbringer, it balances the heartbreak with the victory immaculately. And it has callbacks to moments. Emotionally, your heartstrings are pulled in the best ways. Like, I like being emotionally manipulated when I consume art. I'm not against it, and this one did it very well. So if you are like, Red Rising, should I read that? Well, I have a should you read for that whole series. And it actually is one of my best performing videos somehow, and I definitely didn't record that thinking that that would happen. But you know, things happen. So yeah, Lightbringer, I enjoy that. Can't believe that wasn't on the list, and frickin' new Bounce House Operation is. Oh yeah, because that list actually did put a 2026 book, but I decided no. Last 5 years was 2021 to 2025. That's what I decided. And then the Mimicking of Known Successes, 2023. I just really love Malka Older, guys. Malka Older is brilliant. And this little mystery novella series is my favorite of the mystery novella series that we have been getting. The world building on the planet of Jupiter is stellar. Like, we're not living on a moon of Jupiter. Some people do, that we do visit a moon of Jupiter in the series. But no, we are living on platforms anchored on the planet of Jupiter. And we are living with the idea that Earth is currently not inhabited by humans, and kind of a lot of academic minds working on figuring out how to re-terraform Earth for humans, but also it's kind of sort of a cozy utopia, because since resources are so scarce, that doesn't live in the realm of capitalism. Like, everyone kind of can get the things that they need, everyone has a place to stay, everyone has food, not even just food that they like. Now, granted, it is still resource poor, so you still get some of that a little bit, but it's kind of cozy and fun to explore and fun to see the kind of emotional trials that Plaidy goes through. And then Masa and Plaidy as like a duo, if you like shows like Bones, you're gonna like Masa and Plaidy's romance, will they, won't they, second chance-ness. Amazing. Next up, again, maybe they weren't putting in 2021, but they should have, and I'm doing that. Because honestly, 2026, it's just too early to tell what are the best books. Like, I simply cannot. And I guess I also haven't really read 2026 sci-fi releases that I feel like need to be here yet. But Light from Uncommon Stars. I mean, I was actually just thinking about this the other day because we were having a book club discussion about a different book that mentioned a violin, and all I could think about is Katrina and how good she is at the violin and how the climax of this book is like a violin concerto, and it's so freaking good. Now, is it actually sci-fi? Who's to say? I mean, it was second place in the Hugos the year that it happened, so I'm putting it here. Granted, are the Hugos only sci-fi? No, but I don't really care. There's aliens running a dono shop. There you go. We do have a Faustian deal with the devil, and that's where Katrina and her mentor come into all of this, where she's going to give up her soul. I will say lots of content and trigger warnings for a lot of bad vibes from the family for poor Katrina, who's a trans woman, and her family is not accepting of that, so she runs away. But at its core, it's about community building. It's about resilience. It's about loving your art. It's so good. It's also not even pretentious about music, because it's not even just like only classical music's the best music. No, it's like also other music is valid. Of course it is, right? But usually when you have stories about prodigies, you hear more about the classics being played, but also she has a big connection to a lot of video game type music. It's so good. I really love it. It's so poetic because the author is a trans woman herself and is also very poetic in her style. And I need to read more from her. And I haven't yet, so this is a good reminder. We have a Cli-Fi, The Past is Red by Catherine M. Valente, which I do believe won the Hugo for novella the year it came out. I'm unsure. This was a 2021 as well, and we have Tetley. And Tetley lives with all the other humans on the big pile of trash that is the only landmass on Earth anymore. And Tetley loves her life, and everyone else wants to get back to the good old days. But the good old days are impossible. And so she's trying to prevent them from doing something that would actually destroy their way of life in hopes of gaining a way of life that can't be attained. And I love that Tetley loves her life. I love the resilience and adaptability of her as a character. She is very voicey. But I find a lot of joy and catharsis in that type of climate science fiction. All right, 2022. Goliath. Tochi Onibuchi. Again, I still love this book. I get it. It's a hard read. This isn't an easy read. And that doesn't mean you should force yourself to read it. But if you're someone who does like to challenge yourself, I implore you to attempt to challenge yourself with this book, if that's something that speaks to you as a reader. It is a fragmented storytelling type. It is non-linear as all get out. And it's so good. It takes place in North America after a lot of people have fled Earth because it was uninhabitable, so they live in the space station. And of course, the people who could flee Earth are people with resources, which in the United States means non-marginalized people most of the time. And that means that people were left behind. People were left behind, and they didn't just all die out. It was less ideal to live on Earth. People were more likely to die early, but people could still live, because that's how an apocalypse will go. And so these people have been forming their own communities. They've been using resources. They've been getting by. Again, mostly black and brown people. And now we're at a point where Earth can be inhabited again. So the people on the space stations, the white people, the well-to-do people, are coming back to regentrify the land. And there are pros and cons to this, and we see it through the lens of the person coming back, and also the people kind of getting reinvaded, and it's heart-wrenching, and there's this metaphor with a blueberry bush, and I just love it so much. I hated it my first read. Like, I almost DNF'd it several times on my first read, and then I finished it, and I'm like, oh my god. And then I reread it a month later, and I was like, oh my god. It is, like I said, if you have the patience, I implore you, okay? Truly, it is fantastic. It is doing everything it wants to do the way it wants to do it, and unfortunately that does mean it's not going to blend with a lot of brains, you know? And that is a fault. I don't, if someone wants to communicate something, you tend to want to, put out a wider net. But also I do kind of respect when something is so aggressively like, no, this is who I am. You know, I'm tough and I'm resilient and this is the book I am. And I kind of like that. And it works with the themes too. So like, yeah. Another one from 2021 is We Are Satellites by Sarah Pinsker, who needs to give me more novels. So this is a near future sci-fi. So this is kind of like my near future sci-fi pick. I was between this and More Perfect by Temiel, and I like this one a smidge more. This one, everyone can get this like physical augment that makes it so they can multitask perfectly. So obviously huge benefit because, you know, in capitalistic hellscapes, we're all like, how do we be hyper efficient? We have this device, but some caveats. Not everybody wants this, and not everyone's brain can have this. So what does that do to family units, to societies, to communities when this becomes kind of like a forced thing? So not only is it a compelling discussion about future tech, but it's also a great discussion about disability and availability of resources. And it really stuck with me. I loved its lens through like a family unit. If I ever see this paperback in the wild, I will buy it for my collection. That's how much I like it. And then the next two you guys have heard me talk about quite a bit recently. My most modern book, my only 2025 book on this list is Slow Gods. Freaking love Slow Gods by Claire North. Like, the cultural world building is unmatched. If you like cultural world building, space opera, sci-fi, that is so obviously written right now, you have to give it a go. There are things that I picked up on that I loved, things that I didn't even know were in the text that I learned about when my friends were talking about it in terms of neurodivergency representation. It's fantastic. I'm still bummed it didn't make the Hugo shortlist. I'm still holding out hope that it'll make the Ursula K. Le Guin shortlist. I did even put it on a list for that. Like, I nominated it fourth. I was like, you guys should look at this one. You should look at this one. So this one, we've got our main character who is not quite human anymore and can kind of live forever and is kind of sort of not always safe to be around. And they happen to be around and in this immortality sort of space during a point in this galaxy's history of a supernova that's going to destroy a bunch of planets. But we know that it's going to destroy a bunch of planets, so there's enough time for governments to plan for their people. And we see different ways that governments do and don't plan, and kind of the long game of a slow god. And I just really like it. It's very good. I think this one's a great challenging read that's actually kind of easy to read. Like, I think there's a lot of form challenges to Goliath, but this one I think, like, on a sentence level is, like, not too bad. It's not too difficult. And the audiobook's really good. A lot of effortless neo-pronouns. And like I said, just like, if you like just exploring different cultures, so fantastic. And then the last one I'll talk about is Arboreality, because freaking love Arboreality. I just reread it. It's like one of my favorite novellas of all time. It's like 100 pages. It's in, it's out. It is about Vancouver Island and how it kind of goes in and out-ish of a dark age over the course of 100 years and 100 pages, and the relationship between those who choose to stay or are left behind with nature and each other and art, and this need to both survive and also live and create. And it's so beautiful. It doesn't shy away from how awful this would be, but it also doesn't choose to give in to the bleakness that a story like this could. And I really love it for that. So those are my 12. And honestly, hands down, think it's a much stronger list than what Goodreads put together. Like, if you are a lit fic person, fine. Try Arboreality. Try Goliath. Let's see, what are the other ones that I would say more lit figgy? Slow Gods adjacent. All right? If you want something contemporary, We Are Satellites. But otherwise, let the genre be the genre. Fantasy's allowed to be a genre. Let it be. Let it breathe. And if you're a Goodreads editor and you somehow found your way here, read some of these books. It'll be great. Because I think the big issue is not that you guys don't like sci-fi, but that you're not reading the right sci-fi. And I think you'd agree with me if you read these. If you have books in the last 5 years that would be on your list, please share them down below, especially because if I haven't read them yet, I want to put them on a TBR. And if you just want to leave an emoji to let me know you're here, leave a robot. And otherwise, like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.